All right, folks, we're back and we're in the last half hour of the morning call on this day in October, the 29th of October, coming up on Halloween in a couple of days. And I always say this, but folks, I'll say it right now. I hope that you're going to give out candy to the kids. Kids are only kids once. We don't want them to grow up too fast, so let them enjoy the holiday and give them candy. And you know what? I know somebody who a few years ago said, "Oh, the kids are getting too old and they're coming for they're trick or treating while they're still in high school." That's okay. That's okay. You know what? Do your part. Make a kid happy, even a high school student, and give them candy. 845-1100. I think we've got somebody that's been on hold, so we better go to that call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning. My name is Steve. I live in Cherville. And
yes,
I'm not really good about talking on the radio, but I want to make this brief. Why is it you can go to Florida or Colorado and you want to go to a restaurant and eat, and you could look up the health inspection and see the citations and you can see the details, but you can't do that around here. We like to go out to eat, and we like to kind of look at that information. And the terrible part is my wife put a call into Lake County to the health department, and they switched over to someone else, left a message. They never called us back. That's kind of discouraging. And, it's I wanted to speak along the lines of the health inspections, not so much of the pop-up trucks, but they are inspected if you go to a carnival or a music fest. We talked to one of them, and they have a very rigid health inspection schedule. But I just don't understand why we don't get that opportunity around here. It doesn't make us very comfortable, I'll tell you that.
So, Steve, you actually raise a very good point, and you're correct. If you go to a festival like Pierogi Fest, which I ran for so many years, Pierogi Fest, the food inspectors came out beforehand. They were very rigid, very stringent on making sure that those vendors met all of the conditions under the health code. And you go to other states, Florida is one of them, where you can look up the health inspection on the restaurant. I don't understand why Indiana doesn't do that. I believe it's really at the state level, not so much as the county level. However, all food inspections are handled at the county level, so I don't think there's a law that would prohibit Lake County from doing it. And with all the modern conveniences of technology and sharing information, it sure seems to me like you'd be able to pull up on an app. Hey, this was the last food inspection. These were the results. And I think for a lot of people, it would put them at ease. And I think it's a great idea. I don't know why. What I will try and do, I'll try and find out by next week why they don't do it.
What day is your show on WJOB? Because I've caught it a few times and it's very interesting. And I don't really listen to a lot of the different shows, but yours I try to catch.
Well, I appreciate that, Steve. I'm on every Wednesday morning beginning at 6 a.m. And I'll tell you what, I will reach out to my friends over at the Lake County Board of Health to find out why we can't have food inspection results online where you could pull it up. I think that's a great idea. And you're absolutely right. You go to other states. I'm trying to think, it might be Texas, but there is one state where they post the results not only online, but when you walk into the restaurant, you see they give a grade. So it says, this restaurant grade A or grade B or grade C, and I can't remember what state that is, but they actually have to display it right on the entrance of the door to the restaurant.
Well, I want to know if I go for seafood, like in Florida, there's a couple of places that we won't go to because they're constantly getting citations for the shrimp not kept at the proper refrigeration, and I don't want to go. Like you said earlier during one of the conversations, somebody got food poisoning. I don't want to take any chances on that. I think that information should be there for you, the customer.
Absolutely, and again, this is a great idea, and I'll try and find out why this isn't done or why we can't do this. I can't imagine that Indiana has a law prohibiting it, and again, why don't we even have a law that encourages it? Other states have that. When I have, and it'll be in the next couple of weeks, Dandernoe and Lonnie Randolph, state senators, have agreed to come on again. And when they're on, I'm going to ask them why we can't pass a state law that requires this. How about that?
Okay, but why didn't someone from Lake County call my wife back or me back and tell us, oh, it's a state? You know, and the reason I'm calling in, I don't call in normally, and I'm not comfortable talking on the radio, but in hopes of someone is listening that works for Lake County over there that can follow through on what they're supposed to do. That's what they get paid to do, I think.
Absolutely. Look, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when you call somebody and they're in government and they don't call you back. If you called or your wife called, they should have had the decency to call you back and tell you, here's the reason why. Maybe they can't do it. Okay, maybe there's some reason, and I'm going to try and find out for next week.
Right.
But again, why couldn't they just call you back and tell you so that you don't have to go on the radio and ask a question that seems so common sense? Why can't they just simply get back to you? It is beyond me. I can't make any excuses for that. To me, that's poor customer service.
When someone doesn't answer an email or a text or a phone call, you know what that means to me, okay?
Yeah, this means the same thing to me, too.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so, all right, well, thank you very much, and I enjoy listening to your show. I'll continue doing it, and hopefully we'll get an answer on that.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for calling. 845-1100, we've got some more callers. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Tom. I bet the reason they don't do that inspection like that is because it's Lake County, and that's just another way for somebody to make some side money. You know, hey, your food is great. I'll give you an extra $1,000 if their food's good. You know,
but you know what? They don't do it in Porter County either. So why don't Indiana county boards of health publish the inspections? I mean, to me, I think that the last caller, I think his name was Steve, had a really good point. You go elsewhere. In Florida, you can look up the rating on a restaurant. In some states, not only can you look it up, but they actually have to display a placard that says, this is what the rating is that was given to this restaurant in the last health inspection. And you know what? If I'm going out to eat, I do want to know that they passed the inspection, that they did everything correctly. He was also right that when you go to a festival, those food vendors there is a very detailed inspection that they have to go through before they can open and serve at a festival. Well, what about the health inspections for restaurants? Should be able to access those too.
Hey, Tom, you know what you need to do? Get a couple of your beer drivers. Get a couple beer drivers on there, or some delivery drivers, and let them tell you about some of the restaurants. They'll give you some good advice. You know, when Tobes was open there in Cedar Lake, it was supposed to be one of the best steakhouses around. I used to deliver beer there. Their steaks would be right on the kitchen, right on the walk-in cooler floor, uncovered and everything. So the stuff you see in some of these kitchens would amaze you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're a beer driver. If you remember Stroh's Nick Mossels,
he was for many years. I know Nick very well.
Of course, Rick, his son Rick, and I are best friends. We've been friends now for going on 61 years. We haven't killed each other yet, but Nick used to tell us exactly what you're telling us, which is he said, he would go and make deliveries to restaurants, and he would say there's an awful lot of restaurants that I'll never eat in because of what he'd see.
Absolutely. You know, one of the cleanest restaurants I've ever been in are actually two here in Hammond, and that is Freddy's on Kennedy Avenue and El Taco Real.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised on.
Oh, I lost you, I think.
Sorry, Tom will be right back.
Or their customers at risk.
There he is. Sorry, Tom, you got cut off for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Did you hear that? I'm not surprised about Freddy's or El Taco Real. I think they would never put their reputation at risk. Did we lose a caller?
He might have hung up when you were gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. We'll take another call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, speaking of restaurants and quality of food, a couple months back, the Friday morning host, what's his name? Dave, the roofer. What's the guy's name?
Dave Kuziak, yes.
Kuziak, yeah. he had mentioned that there's a number of restaurants in the Harbor and East Chicago area that serve cat. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I hope not. I really hope not. I didn't hear that he said that, and maybe he said it facetiously.
He said it. He said it for a fact that he has a list of restaurants that he knows for a fact that serve cat. And I've always heard that as a rumor, and I thought that was a myth. But according to Buziak, that might be true. I don't know.
Well, if he knows that that's against the law, it's putting people's lives at risk, and he'd have a duty and a responsibility to notify authorities. I think it was probably more of a joke. You hear those comments every so often, but again, look, food safety is important, no doubt about it. And
you eat the wrong thing, it can kill you.
Yeah, and so again, I think the one caller again from that brought up the idea of having a site that you can go and check the inspection, I think is a great idea, and I don't see any reason why we can't do it. And I think maybe when Dan and Lonnie are on next time, I'm going to confront them with the idea of introducing legislation to require it.
I know Los Angeles County has the placards on the establishments, as well as I think Maricopa County out in Arizona does as well. So yeah, I mean, it gives you a great indication of what you're walking into. Maybe in the Harbor they need to have a picture of a cat or a dog or a cat or a cow before you walk into the restaurant, according to Kupiak.
Well, again, I think he might have been facetious. I don't know. I didn't hear what he said, but
hey,
I certainly hope.
Hey, I'm not trying to gas you up. Hands down, this is the best show on WJOB.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. 845-1100. We've got more callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom. What you doing? Brad Gimble here. How's it going?
Brad, we're doing well. How are you? What do you think? When you go to a restaurant, would you like to be able to access their last health inspection?
I mean, I guess so. Who wouldn't, right? Who doesn't want a case of the runs or something else? But I mean, you can have the most pristine Michelin-rated inspection and still get food poisoning. So, I mean, it doesn't always turn out. Yeah, it doesn't always turn out that way. So, I don't know. I guess it's a good thing. I don't know if I'm totally against the vendors in the street either. But yeah, we got to pay taxes to live, so everybody else does too. You know what I mean? There's so many caveats with that conversation. I don't know really what to do with it. But I
wish the one guy would call back that got cut off that knew Nick Mossels, because I had a couple more questions for him. But go ahead, Brad.
Yeah. No, I mean, guys like, Ray over there at El Taco Real and stuff, yeah, he's got overhead. He's got payroll. He's got everything. That's who you should be supporting. You shouldn't be, supporting some guy that rolls in the region and just starts, cutting everybody out. That's not, that's not loyal region, I guess, in my opinion.
No, it isn't. It isn't, Brad. And again, you and I both understand that, El Taco Real or Freddy's or any other restaurant, they're spending a lot of money within that community. They're paying payroll taxes. They're paying a payroll. They're supporting others. They're constantly supporting all kinds of good, good and well-intentioned events and activities. So there's lots of reasons to support local business, and it's a little disheartening when everybody takes up the argument and the side of, well, the fly-by-night vendor should have a right to be there. Well, okay, but he's taking away or she's taking away money from those established businesses too. I'm sure that all the people that stood in that block-long line didn't go to El Taco Real that night. They went home. So they missed. So El Taco Real missed out on a lot of business.
Absolutely, and the restaurants like Freddy's and El Taco Real and a few others around here, that's what makes the region. That's what gives the people the ability to go congregate and talk and have conversation, which is a lost art form in itself lately, it seems like, with everybody separating. But if you want the region to stay the region and kind of be the same, you have to support the businesses right here in the region. And I can tell you for a fact, I know this, because I know a few guys that will own pizza slices and pizza places in Illinois, all around the suburbs. And like five 5 to 7 of them, maybe even more, have closed. And they say because I can't get the support, I can't get the money, I can't get the people in here. I mean, one guy 60 years plus, and he's going to lose his business, or he lost his business. He closed, and that's all he did his whole life. And it was over in Des Plaines, and it's just, I don't want that to happen to the region here. Hopefully people coming over, all the refugees from Illinois that I always like to say, hopefully they'll start supporting. But, I mean, with what I was going to call about here, with all these layoffs, have you seen the amount of layoffs that are coming? I think we've got a big tsunami here of things, and I think it's just the start of it here, and this is why people need to spend money in restaurants and kind of get to it, because, I mean, we got 48,000 employees at UPS, up to 30 at Amazon, 24,000 at Intel, 16,000 Nestle, 11,000 Accenture, 11,000 Ford, Microsoft, 7,000, Salesforce, 4,000, Target, 1,800, Kroger, 1,000, Applied Materials, 1,500, and Meta, which nobody really cares about, 600. But that's just a taste of who has announced they're going to lay off people. And so you better get out to the people if you want the region, if you want your favorite restaurant. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more going on here that we've got to stop the politics thing, man. Nobody's going to win here. This battle here, that's exactly what they want us doing. They want us looking the other way while all the cryptocurrencies are rising, all of that money is being transferred. They want us fighting over who's saying what. It's insanity. They're playing us, Tom. They're totally playing us. And I don't think
I totally agree. We are being played. We are being played as the American public. We're being played, and it's sad. And we're being taken advantage of. And again, if you want to shut down government, then the first person that loses their paycheck, and they don't get any chance to get it back, by the way, in my playbook, are the members of Congress. Okay, you shut down government, good. Then you're not getting paid until you start government back up, and you're never getting the back pay.
No, and it has to. They have to come. Actually, people have to come to a consensus to start really blaming Congress. Really get in there and start pressuring your representatives, because they are the problem. They are the ones that hold up all of this collusion, basically, against us, and we are the people, and we're the ones that are supposed to be making the choices, but they keep on convincing us that we need them, and we need them, and we need them, and we need them to rule us. And I think really the problem has been the cost of them. If we reduce the cost of them, we will get more money back in our pockets. And I'm not going to say Trump is some kind of hero and he's doing that, or the other side is doing it, because they're playing us, like you said. And they both have their faults. And until we come to an independent consensus and all say to ourselves, I always go back to this, we all want the same thing: lower bills, a roof over our head, and food in our family's mouth. And if we can't agree on that, we're never going to get anywhere. We're just never going to get anywhere.
Let me ask you this. It's exactly what you said that leads me to believe that we should have term limits, because these people sit in Congress so long, and they basically become so complacent and so worried about their own agenda that they don't worry about the people that they're representing. And to me, it's a reason for term limits. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, all those people have sat in Congress way too long. And if you get them out and you put new blood in there, maybe, just maybe, some of those people will actually have some common sense, like John Fetterman, who wouldn't have been my first choice. But you know what? He's actually a pretty decent guy. He comes off, when you listen to him, he's articulate, he makes sense, and he's trying to actually look at things from the standpoint of what's best for his constituents. And he's getting beat up by everybody for it.
Yeah, you got him. The problem with those guys is they're kind of like, they're going to have to get some respect, like a Tulsi Gabbard, where she was on the Democratic side there for a long time, and then it took some time, and now she's got plenty of credibility and plenty of respect. And I think if Fetterman wants to come to play, he better start opening his mouth about what he really knows, and he better start giving the American public a little bit more gas in their tank than just, I'm coming over to be a little bit more open. All these guys told you to put on a mask and choke on it. All these guys said the worst absolute thing. They wanted to fire you. They wanted you to take something that was experimental. They wanted to do all these things. That to me is something that I just can never let go. Whether the people that did wind up having a true sickness from it, and there was, and the people that didn't, there is so much behind that people just they don't even want to talk about it anymore. Keep it off limits. And that's another problem too. Everybody's got to talk about all of it. Everything that's on their minds, and bring it, no matter how conspiratorial it is, no matter how many feelings are hurt, no matter who decides that is offended by it. It has to be said, because I will always go back to this too, if we lose our ability to speak and they cut out our tongues, that's the end of it. That's the end of it. So you better put up with everybody screaming. You better put up with everybody whining, and you better come with a better solution to bring everybody together, or we're toast. I mean, you can see it now. We're so divided. Do I think it's any kind of civil war? No. They'll push a civil war on TV, and they'll make you feel like it's happening with all the paid social media people putting out all kinds of things to scare people. I'm coming for your food. I'm of color. I'm going to take it from you. You know what, man? I don't know one person of color that would say that to me. I don't know one person of color off social media that is saying the same thing or saying something like that. They're saying the same thing we are. The prices are high. The grocery stores are pigeonholed. Everybody's got to just kick in a little bit and figure it out. But the problem is, I don't know if people got any, like I said, gas in the tank left. There's food lines everywhere. I mean, and then there's people taking advantage of them too. So when the EBT things get cut off, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope a solution comes here within the next 48 hours, because you're going to have bad actors, or whatever they want to call them now, in the crowd creating a stir, or getting on social media to say, I'm going to steal this cart of food just to get the views. And that's really what it's all about. The same thing with the taco guy. Everybody just wanted to be seen there and make a post and say, hey, look, I followed the taco guy all around the region, instead of going to get some tacos at my buddy who's been there since the late 70s. So I don't know. I don't know.
Good points. Hey, thanks, Brad.
Well, anyway,
thanks
show.
So much.
As always.
Thank you, sir.
Wednesdays, I look forward to it. You got to have a good day.
Thank you. 845-1100 is the number. And did we get to the point we don't have any callers? We have no callers. So call in right now, because you will be the last caller of the day. We're going to wrap up in about 9 minutes. So the last caller of the day gets the prize. I don't know what the prize will be, but they get to talk to me and to everybody else that's listening. I think Brad brings up some good points, folks. We're at a point and a stage where I don't think we're going to have a civil war. I think what we're going to have is just a continuing unraveling of society. And we've become this great, big, huge country, the shining light on the hill that Ronald Reagan talked about. We've become it. But the question is, can we survive? Can we survive in spite of ourselves? And I'm just worried these days that, we've got these trials and tribulations and these issues that we can't put behind ourselves. We can't agree to disagree and respect each other. Ron Matlock called in and said, well, we're agree to disagree. And that's right. But we also agree on a lot of things, Ron. So, my view is that you have to respect people and you have to respect differences. It can't just be one-sided. You can't treat people again, like you treat family sometime, because family, we're rougher on than anybody else. Maybe we need to take a step back and start treating people a little bit more civilly, where we can talk to each other and we can recognize that we don't all have the same opinions, that sometimes we have differences of opinions, but we have the right to those opinions, and we need to create a fix when it comes to government, because government's not working for us. The federal government right now is not working for us. Oh, there's some great programs going on. Don't get me wrong. And there's some great people, and the military is doing a great job and those kinds of things. But when it comes to the leadership in Congress, I don't think anybody could convince me, at least, that Congress is doing its job. It's not. It's dysfunctional. And we need to get to the point where we're functioning, where Democrats and Republicans can say, okay, I don't necessarily agree with you, but here's the right thing to do. For example, it's the right thing to pass the clean continuing resolution so that we can continue government, so that the people that rely on SNAP benefits, the people who rely on a paycheck if you're working for the TSA or air traffic control, they're able to support their families, to eat dinner, to do the things that they need to do to exist. And we've gotten beyond that. And there's a real problem. And it's scary if you ask me. Next week I want to spend a little time talking about Veterans Day, because Veterans Day honors our veterans. And it grew out of, Armistice Day and the, signing of the treaties for World War I. And sometimes it's often overlooked, but we wouldn't be here without our veterans. We wouldn't exist without the commitment and the dedication that they made and put their lives at risk for the rest of us. And I think about the hundreds of individuals, the thousands, the millions of individuals, I guess I should say, that have put their lives on the line for this country. And I wonder how soldiers in World War II and World War I and Vietnam would feel if they looked at where we're at as a country today. So they risked their lives. The people in the Civil War, they risked their lives to create this great country, and then look at what we have right now. We've got a stalemate over funding government that should never ever exist. And to me, the most reprehensible part of the stalemate is the fact that the people who caused the stalemate are still the ones guaranteed a paycheck. You're a member of Congress, you're a member of the Senate, and you are basically getting, you're still getting paid, and everybody else is having to fend for themselves. And people who are on SNAP benefits and people who work for government aren't getting paid. They're not getting their benefits and their checks because you can't get together and come up with a way to continue to fund government while you debate other issues like the Affordable Care Act. And again, the Affordable Care Act, you can't just simply say it should go away and get rid of it, because too many people rely on it. And it did fix some real significant problems. So I'm not opposed to the Affordable Care Act, folks. But does it need to be fixed? Yeah. And who else agrees with me that it needs to be fixed, that it needs to be amended and improved? But the guy who first proposed it, President Barack Obama, he's the one who says, yeah, you've got to fix it. There are problems with it. But we can't get to the point that we can get people to even sit down and talk to each other. I mean, we are, in year 2025, next year is the 250th anniversary of this country. And I wonder sometime, it's not going to be the Chinese, it's not going to be the Russians that destroy this country. It's going to be ourselves. We're going to destroy ourselves from within, which is what Khrushchev said, because we can't come together and come up with basic ways to settle our differences and to move this country forward. And that's really, really sad. Lynette, you're young. You've got a bright future ahead of you. You like to think that you live in the greatest country on earth and it could always be better, right? You hope and pray that it's always better, that your generation. And what we've done is we've given you massive debt. We've given you all kinds of stalemate and all kinds of problems. And it's got to be just very frustrating for someone as young as you to look at it and say, what a mess these idiots have created for me.
Yes, and I think we are very capable of being civil with each other and trying to work together to come up with a solution or compromise, and for some reason we just refuse to do so, and I think it's causing us a lot of issues.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you know what? You can disagree with other people that you know, your friends, and even people that you don't get along with. But we pay Congress to be our leaders, and they can't come up with some simple solutions to things. Why have the repairs to the Affordable Care Act taken 16 years to get done? It should have been done years ago. I mean, if your car, if you've got a bad tire on the driver's side, you get the tire fixed, right? You don't just keep on driving the car. But when it comes to Congress, we just keep on driving that car down the road, and oh yeah, look, the wheel fell off. Okay, well now we're driving on the rims. That's okay. Or the tire fell off. Now we're driving on the rims. As a country, it's a great country, but we've got leaders that just can't They can't find the time or the place or the words. They're too busy running the Fox News and CNN to get an interview than to sit down and talk to each other. That's wrong. That's just wrong. I don't know. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and it's got to be very frustrating for you because you've got this, this great life ahead of you and all kinds of opportunities. And again, I know you're going to do extremely well in life and you're going to be able to reach all those goals, but you want to also live in a country that's not, just stalemated over every little issue. And that's where we're at right now. And it's kind of sad. So, well, next week, you get to see me in person. I will be sitting on the other side of that glass from you, and then you'll have to give me all the hand signals just like you do when I'm remote. So it doesn't really change a whole lot for you, but I'll be there Wednesday morning and look forward to it. And it'll be the first Wednesday in the month of November. Can you imagine that? We're already into November next week. Kind of hard to believe, but we'll be back beginning at 6 a.m. and hopefully I can find an answer for Steve about the health permit. So I'll try and get that answer by then. Folks, it's been great listening and talking to you. Just love doing radio. Thank you so much for calling in and listening to me as well this morning and viewing as well. So thank you so much. You have a great day. We'll be back here again next Wednesday at 6 a.m. Keep it tuned all day, all week to WJLB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. It's the Morning Call with Tom Dabertin signing off for this week. Take care, folks.